Welcome to another edition of the Exo News Bulletin Podcast, where we present the audio version of bullet points posted on the exonews.org website, summarizing a recent UFO or extraterrestrial-related internet article. I'm Duke Brickhouse, Chief Editor of the Exo News. Today's article is from June 23rd, 2019, entitled, "Why Have There Been So Many UFO Sightings Near Nuclear Facilities?" It was written by Adam Janos and originally posted on the History.com website. For a link to the original article, visit exonews.org. Former high-ranking U.S. defense and intelligence officials, aerospace industry veterans, and academics associated with the To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science are asking, why are so many UFOs being reported near nuclear facilities? And why isn't there more urgency on the part of the government to assess their potential national security threat? Their investigations are the subject of History's limited series, Unidentified. In the past century, more than a few UFO sightings have been reported in military contexts. In late World War II, U.S. airmen called the bright orange UFOs flying along the French-German border Foo Fighters. During the Korean War, soldiers claimed that a blue-green light emitting pulsing rays made their whole battalion sick with radiation poisoning. In the last 75 years, high-ranking U.S. military and intelligence personnel have also reported UFOs near sites associated with nuclear power, weaponry, and technology. From the early atomic bomb development and test sites of the past to active nuclear naval fleets in the present. All of the nuclear facilities, Los Alamos, Livermore, Sandia, Savannah River, all had dramatic incidents where these unknown craft appeared over the facilities and nobody knew where they were from or what they were doing there, said investigative journalist George Knapp. There seems to be a lot of correlation there, says Lou Elizondo, who from 2007 to 2012 served as the director of the Pentagon UFO study program called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Robert Hastings, a UFO researcher and author of the book UFOs and Nukes, Extraordinary Encounters at Nuclear Weapons Sites, says that nuclear-adjacent sightings go back decades. Witnesses to these incidents are often highly trained personnel with top security clearances. In recent years, their reports are being corroborated by sophisticated technology. In late 1948, green fireballs were reported in the skies near atomic laboratories in Los Alamos and Sandia, New Mexico, where the atomic bomb was first developed and tested. A declassified FBI document from 1950 mentions flying saucers measuring almost 50 feet in diameter near the Los Alamos labs. Over a dozen workers from the Nevada Desert Atomic Site told Knapp that UFO activity was commonplace. In the 1960s and 70s, repeated UFO sightings emerged at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana, a storage site for nuclear-tipped intercontinental ballistic missiles. At one such sighting in 1967, former Air Force Captain Robert Salas reported several of those missiles becoming inoperative or unlaunchable at the same time that the base security reported seeing a glowing red object about 30 feet in diameter hovering over the facility. In December 1980, the U.S. Air Force secretly housed nuclear weapons in 25 fortified bunkers beneath the Royal Air Force Base at Bentwaters in Suffolk, England. United States Air Force Master Sergeant Ivan Barker saw an object on radar having remarkable speed and maneuverability, covering 120 miles in a matter of seconds. He looked out of the window and saw a craft hovering over a water tower. It was between about 1,500 and 2,000 feet high. The thing was at least a city block in diameter, said Barker. Barker says it was shaped like a giant basketball with portholes around the center, from which lights were emanating outward. I was shocked. There was nothing aerodynamic about it. Basketballs don't fly. Then, in a second, it was gone. But Barker didn't report the sightings to his superiors. "You don't understand what the Air Force did to people who reported UFOs," he said. Colonel Charles Halt was the deputy commander at RAF Bentwaters that night. Halt led a patrol to investigate the strange, colorful lights seen descending into the nearby Rendlesham Forest. He saw a red light moving horizontally through the trees, obviously under some kind of intelligent control. "A laser-like beam," he said, "landed 10 to 15 feet away from us. I was literally in shock." Then the object flew north towards the base. Says Halt, "We could hear chatter on the radios that the beams went down into the weapons storage area." The Air Force generals closed the case without investigation. In recent years, the U.S. Navy has reported several UFO encounters off of both the Atlantic and Pacific coasts. Navy F-18 fighter pilots saw UFOs almost daily for several months between the summer of 2014 and the spring of 2015 along the eastern seaboard between Virginia and Florida. "Wherever we were, they were there," said Ryan Graves, an F-18 fighter pilot who holds a degree in aerospace engineering. "The objects appeared in three shapes," Graves says. Some were discs, others looked like a cube inside a sphere, while smaller round objects flew together in formation. All lacked visible engines or exhaust systems. Some tilted mid-flight like spinning tops, as seen in a cockpit video. One UFO almost caused a collision by zipping dangerously between two jets. Graves says that the UFO also appeared in the Persian Gulf. In November 2004, Navy pilots and radar operators from the USS Nimitz carrier fleet saw a 40-foot-long tic-tac-shaped object flying just above the ocean, 100 miles off of the coast of California near San Diego. When F-18 fighter jets were scrambled to approach the object, it accelerated and easily outran the supersonic Navy craft. Chris Mellon, former U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, said that a carrier battle group being shadowed by the UFOs all the way across the Atlantic to the Middle East makes an extremely compelling case for the existence of technologies we didn't think were possible. There is an increasing openness in the Pentagon and on Capitol Hill to taking these sightings seriously as potential threats. In April 2019, the U.S. Navy announced that it was updating its guidelines for how pilots and personnel should report unexplained aerial phenomena, making it easier for military members to report sightings to superiors without facing stigma and backlash. And now, Congress has taken more interest in these UFO briefings. George Knapp says there is more UFO activity now than he has seen in 3 decades. Knapp notes that personnel at the military facilities, bases, ships, and submarines where nuclear weapons are built, tested, and deployed have seen these things. Are they all crazy?
This has been an Exo News Bulletin with Chief Editor Duke Brickhouse. Visit our website at exonews.org. Subscribe to this podcast. Exo News is sponsored by the Exopolitics Institute, a U.S.-based 501c3 nonprofit educational organization.